Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Payne and welcome to another anime review video and my first video with this new setup, with a new camera, tripod, and a place to look at my script right here, hands-free. And I gotta be honest with you, this show is the perfect first show to talk about with this new setup. So, now that I already brought up something about the setup, let's just get right into it. So one of the more talked about and popular types of anime that have surfaced over in the last decade is what is known as an abridged series, which for people who don't know, it is a parody of a really popular show where the characters are overdubbed to make the show more funny and or have a more different tone than the source material. For example, there was a Neon Genesis Evangelion abridged series known as EVA Abridged. I was a personal fan of that, both the show and the abridged version. And one of the more popular examples is Something Witty Entertainment's SAO Abridged, which is a abridged version of Sword Art Online. I referenced it in my SAO review, and it was also announced that they were going to be making a My Hero Academia abridged series, which I'm pretty excited about. But today we're going to be talking about a video that is credited with starting all of that. Not as an abridged series itself, but as an actual dub to an anime. And in this video we're going to be talking about the one, the only, the wild, the crazy, the stupid, and one of the most obnoxious shows I'll ever see, Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories, or Gaku no Kaiden, was directed by Noriyuki Abe before he directed shows such as Bleach, Black Butler, and Boruto, and was made by Studio Perriot, which is known for making shows such as Naruto, Bleach, and Tokyo Ghoul. Just like yours truly, it aired in the fall of 2000 and consisted of 20 episodes. The show was based off a series of best-selling novels that were written by a Japanese school teacher in the mid-1980s after he was fascinated by how many school-related horror stories there were in Japan. After the popularity of those novels went up, there was a 6-episode miniseries that was aired back in 1994. There was a movie that was made based off the novels titled School Ghost Stories in 1995 about a girl who disappeared in her elementary school, and her big sister and her friends have to go find her. There was a sequel in 1996 titled School Ghost Stories 2, and there was another adaptation based off the novels made in 2014 titled Kododama Spiritual Curse. Now, before I get into the reason why I like this show, I want to quickly explain the plot of the show to people who have never heard of Ghost Stories before, or have heard about it probably once but have never really seen the show before, just so we will be on the same page here and we'll probably think this is entertaining together. So the story follows a 5th grader by the name of Satsuki and her little brother Keiichiro as they move into the town where their recently deceased mother grew up and became principal of the elementary school there. After moving there, it is discovered that the school they're attending is right next to an old abandoned schoolhouse, the one that their mother was the principal of, and where there were multiple rumors of the school being haunted. After their cat Kaya runs into the schoolhouse, Satsuki, Keiichiro, their new neighbor Hajime, his friend Ryo, and an upperclassman named Momoko all go into the schoolhouse to try and find the cat. But instead, they discover, oh yeah, the rumors were true. This place is actually freaking haunted. And they were being chased by a demon known as Amana-jaku. It's soon revealed that Satsuki's mother left behind a book detailing how to exorcise the ghosts once and for all, and that Satsuki's mom was responsible for sealing several ghosts who haunted not only the school, but all around the town, and that now they're released due to the urbanization taking place in the surrounding areas, and that is the theme throughout the entire series. Using the book, Satsuki takes down Amana-jaku, whose soul is inside the cat, and the rest of the series follows the group of friends, plus one cat, as they try to put all the other ghosts to spiritual rest once and for all to keep the town safe. The problems that I've heard about the sub range from that it didn't have a consistent storyline, to which, if this was a show like Naruto where it had like hundreds of episodes, it would be perfect, but for a show like Ghost Stories, which has 20 episodes, it wasn't really good. It was that it was very ghost-happy, or in this instance, that it was very, it heavily relied on its references to Japanese myths and legends, or Chinese myths and legends, and that it felt like towards the end of the series that there were some people that weren't even trying, that there were a few plot twists that were just very dumb, and that there were a few continuity problems, making the show very stale. That all changed in 2005 when a distribution company known as ADV Films announced that they were making a dub for the show that was going to be released later that year. Before they recorded the dub, ADV Films was told that they were not able to do 3 things. Number 1, change the characters' names. Pretty self-explanatory. No one really does that, to be honest, or it's very rare occurrence where the dub would actually change characters' names. You can't change the names of the ghosts because they're based off actual stories and legends, and that you can't change how the ghosts die. Other than that, they can do whatever the hell they want. And my god, did they take advantage of that. The dub was directed by a guy named Stephen Foster, who was also a co-writer for the Ghost Stories dub, as the other writers were the voice actors themselves, as they threw in a lot of ad-libs into the show as well. And the most shocking part about all this? The original Japanese licensor for the show, Aniplex, actually approved the changes for the dub before they released it onto DVD later that year. Why am I so stressed out about this? Why am I so worked up about the fact that they released a dub to the public of this show? Well, you're going to find out what the comedy of this show is really about, for anyone who doesn't know. It's going to be, you're going to be surprised by this. Now, let's get into the reason why I love this show. Even though ADV Films couldn't change the characters' names, they could change their personalities, and they took advantage of that a lot. As the series goes on, we find out that Satsuki is basically an unlikable bitch with a lot of one-liners that you can't help but laugh at. So yeah, she's basically an unlikable, likable bitch, like in between. Rio, whose name in the dub is changed to Leo, is now Jewish, and everyone bashes him for it. Hajime is very perverted. Like, apparently he was a little bit perverted in the sub, but times that by 10, and then bring his ego up by 1,000,000. That's how Hajime is like in the dub for the show. Kichiru is interesting. In the sub, he was like a crybaby. He would cry about everything. So the dub found out about this, and they decided that they were going to have the voice actor for Kichiru to just say a bunch of random gibberish that only Satsuki would understand. And it started this running gag where all the characters would call him half retarded. I mean, right now it's not that funny, but if you watch the show and you hear, like, the timing is perfect for all the jokes, but the ones with when they call him half retarded is just perfect. My favorite performance comes from Monica Rial, who is the English dub actor for Momoko, in which in this show she became an overly fanatical Christian, a born-again evangelical Christian, that, no joke, in every sentence that she has, in all 20 episodes, says something about God, Jesus, hell, that you're gonna sin, that you're heathens, that in very intentionally going to annoy the viewer. And I praise them for that, because for one, it easily annoys the viewer and doesn't give a shit. And number two, it's one of the most easily offensive things in this entire show. And believe me, there's a lot of offensive shit in this show. As well as Momoko becoming a born-again Christian, she also bashes Leo for being a Jew the most, and that she actually tries to convert Kichiru into Christianity. But if there was an award for the most riveting performance, it would be to the guy who was playing Amanajaku, which was comedian Rob Mungle. Throughout the series, Rob, at times, was the only person that took his role seriously, and because that Amanajaku didn't have enough screen time, there would be times where he would wait to make a joke, thus, instead of making one every 3 seconds, thus making his punchlines all the more rewarding. There were even some cases where the side characters were the funniest thing that came out of a certain episode. There were a couple that I could think of at the top of my head. There was a girl named Mio who, in an episode that was like a Pet Cemetery ripoff, she tried to revive her rabbit, but instead it turns into this giant monster, and she's the only one that could try and get rid of it. And I am not joking when I say this. I have the actual transcript from the show and from this point in the series. This is what she says before taking out the rabbit. She says, "Shiratabi," that's the rabbit's name, "please forgive me for bringing you back to life. I know now that it could never work between us, and as much as we want it to, it could never be. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black. That is not a racist joke by me, that is a racist joke by the show. They put in an out of context, just out of nowhere racist joke in the place that you least expect." Which I just think is hilarious at the time. What do you mean at the time? I still think it's hilarious. There was another character named Yuki who towards the end of the series, she only showed up for a little bit, but when she was there, it was golden, as she would say something about how she was popular, or how, like, people don't think, how, like, she has a giant ego and says that she's popular, and that she says something about how she likes fucking black guys because their dicks are bigger.
Sorry, all you little yellow people look alike to me. And African Americans, but not the Mexicans. Why do you think that is? I mean, don't you find that just the weirdest thing?
Not really.
You don't?
No, but I do notice something else. Black men have larger penises than either Asians or Mexicans do. And I'm a size queen from the word go, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my god. That last sentence right there was the hardest thing I ever had to say making this. Dude, this is some of the most racist shit I've ever seen in a show. But one thing I gotta respect this show for doing is that this show referenced and made jokes about basically anything and everything that was popular in the year 2005, just so they can get a reaction. They made references about politics, about Democrats, about Republicans. They even made a reference about something that happened in Spokane, Washington, about 5 hours from where I live, that happened around 2005, that I really don't want to talk about because I'm still surprised I even referenced it in the first place. They referenced religion, talking about Christianity and Scientology. They made fun of many different celebrities. One running gag was that they made fun of Christian Slater, who now is known as a character on Mr. Robot. The running gag was that there was always at least one person every couple of episodes who would ask, "Hey, you remember when Christian Slater had a career?" Well, after looking at what movies he was in before 2005, yeah, he kinda didn't have a career during that time, but now he does. You could say his career is revived because of his time at Mr. Robot. It's a really good show. Anyone who has never seen Mr. Robot is clearly sleeping under a rock. This is a really good show. There were even a few voice actors who were referenced in the show, such as Vic Mignogna, who at the time was voicing Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist, and fun fact, actually almost got a spot on this show, but decided not to because he just found out what this show had in it, how edgy it was, and he feared that something was going to happen to his career if he did that, and so he decided to stay on the safe side and work as the Full Metal Alchemist. They also make, in addition to all the stuff I said, they made a lot of racist jokes, mainly around Asian people. They made a lot of sexist jokes, basically around gay people and lesbian people. Even, this was bold for the time, they even made Hurricane Katrina jokes in 2005. I can't believe they made Hurricane Katrina jokes in 2005. That is bold. They didn't really give a shit about what anyone thought, did they? No, they didn't. There was at least one instance each episode where I had to pause it just so either A, I could contain myself because I was laughing so goddamn hard, or B, I was a little confused because I was asking myself, did they actually say this thing? Did they actually say that? Did they actually reference this thing on the show? And about 99.9% of the time that answer was yes. But overall, if I was just reviewing the sub, I would probably give it like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Not a really good score, but the dub right here is what I consider a masterpiece. No matter how many people are going to be offended by it, and no matter how many people try to bash it because of how offensive it is, like it or not, this show is going to stand the test of time as the first official abridged series ever. And it has spawned all these other abridged shows. It won't stand the test of time as much as, let's say, Sailor Moon, because that's going to stand the test of time for a very long time, regardless of who likes it or not, but it will stand the test of time for this moment, and I am satisfied with it. And it is that, with its okay story, its stellar characters, and its offensively hilarious comedy, I'm going to proudly give Ghost Stories a perfect 10 out of 10. I suggest this show for anyone who just wants to laugh their ass off at basically anything, and I don't suggest this show for anyone who's easily offended by stuff like politics or religion, because you're just not going to have a good time, and it's just going to fuel that rage and anger that you have stuck in your body. It's just not right. Thank you guys for watching my Ghost Stories review. If you like this video, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more anime review videos in the future, hit the subscribe button on the screen or down below as well. Or if you want to see some anime review videos that I have made before, there are some videos on the screen, as well as you can go to my channel down below to watch all the other videos that I have made, because I think I've made like 11 other videos before this one. And once again, guys, my name is Payne, and with a new setup, we'll see you in the next anime review video.